How you doing, everybody? What's going on? This is Christopher Ian Bennett with Casting Workbook. I am your guest host today. So nice to be back. Welcome to The Working Actor with Omari Newton. Omari is off today, doing what actors do, and I never complain because I get to jump in. And today is a particularly special interview. I have an affinity for Rose Rosen, our guest today, and you're going to get to know her and talk to her. We're going to have a lot of fun. If this is the first time you've ever been on the live stream, welcome. And here's how it works. If you want to be a part of the conversation, there's a chat button there right below where you're watching here on the Zoom link. If you click the chat button, you can tell us what you think, participate in the conversation. I like to see what's going on and read from everyone and tell us if you agree, disagree, all that kind of stuff. If you want to ask a question, all you got to do is go to the Q&A section and put your questions there. And I only take questions from the Q&A section. So remind anybody if they jump in late, if they have a question, that's where they got to do it. That's where I'll pull them from. Please tell me your full name, where you're from, anything I can so that Rose has context and I will make sure that she gets those questions. What's going on, everybody? It's kind of the day after Election Day. Rose, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Can you hear me?
I can hear you wonderfully and I can see you wonderfully. You look beautiful. How are you, Rose?
I'm good. I'm a little election traumatized, but everything's going to be fine. And it's all good. It's all good. I lost a little sleep last night, so be kind to me.
I promise I will. And there's a little intro I want to read here, and we're going to dive into it. With me on the show today is Rose Rosen. She's a member of the Casting Society of America. What I love about Rose is she was nationally recognized for her early adoption and utilization of the advanced casting software, the world of digital casting. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that world, if it wasn't for Susan Fox and Casting Workbook. And she was an early adopter. She was facilitating and managing e-auditions for films right at the early onset when this technology was new, about 25 years ago. She's worked on film, TV, unscripted, commercials, you name it. Rose has done it. She's known as one of Florida's most distinguished casting directors. And we're going to talk about the industry in Florida. I want to get her opinion on that. She has done so much work, but one of the pieces that really got her kickstarted, a personal favorite of mine, Edward Scissorhands. She credits Edward Scissorhands for really advancing her own industry credentials. You know, any opportunity to work on a Tim Burton film and working in the casting team on that is not a bad way to start things out. And since then, she's done a host of incredible projects, but some of the ones that I'm a big fan of course, Bridezilla's. My wife and I loved it. And she's done Cowboy U. She has done a whole host of other reality things. I want to talk a little bit about that. She's a hell of a casting director, and she's here to help you learn from what it's like on her side of the audition room. Ladies and gentlemen, please say hello to Rose Rosen. Hi, Rose.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
We were talking earlier, and I love that your name is Rose Rosen.
I know. My mother did that to me. Isn't that crazy?
Your Polish background, right?
Yes, from Eastern Europe. Yeah.
But you're here. You're talking to us today from Tampa Bay, Florida, correct?
Yes.
But you originally were from St. Louis. You're a Missouri girl, right? From back then. I don't know if people know this. I used to live in Kansas City. My son Hawk was born in Kansas City, and go Jayhawks, and that's why we named him Hawk. But I really think life would be different in St. Louis compared to Florida. How do you, so let's begin. I know the election's there. Let's just go right into that first. How do you, having lived in a couple of these different places, Florida, a lot of pressure on Florida right now. Did you feel that as a voter? Did you feel that as someone in the industry with so much riding on it? Like you guys must be feeling it, I think, more than most places, right?
Well, sure. I mean, the industry worldwide has crumbled because of COVID. And of course, we've had our own challenges in the US with regards to our election systems and the reds and the blues. And today it's just counting votes. So it's just everybody's sitting on the edge of their seat. It's a pretty tense time in America and probably worldwide because everybody is interested in what we're doing. And we're going to be fine. We always rise to the top, or I hope we do.
I think the thing that's on most people's minds, and without being too political, but I'll tell you, most of the people that watch this show, we've got so many wonderful Canadian actors, we've got American actors, a lot of actors from the UK. I think one thing that we are all united in is our desire for whatever is going to have the most impact on helping the industry get back to work safely.
Right.
And I do think most people believe a certain individual probably can lead us down that path much more effectively than someone else. Did you feel at any time in the last year, did you have a false start in Florida? Like at one point, I think people were feeling like maybe in the summer it was starting to come back, but then we started to see this early onset of, well, one person in the crew was exposed during the cast, and then we had to take 2 weeks off. What's it been like down there? Has it been start and stop? Or are you still feeling the tide building?
Well, it's been crazy here. We were a very hot spot at I call it early pandemic. Uh, and I had some New York clients that said, "I'm not coming to Florida. We're here." And then there was also, because many of my clients come down here as a location.
Yeah.
And that's for commercials, that's for series, that's for everything. We were able to shoot a series mid-early pandemic, like July, which was good. And that was all safe, but that was actually like before you heard of the COVID protocols. So, we finally, I think SAG just came out with it just before we started shooting, and we followed all that. And thank God everybody was fine. So I think the industry in general is beginning to understand it. And Florida is 100% open. So it's not, our leadership is not helping or hurting our industry. Honestly, I do think at this point it's a self-regulating thing. I can't tell you if that's good or not. I don't really even know.
Well, maybe talking a little bit more about the trend of the industry. The other thing that I thought was so important for us at Casting Workbook, and why I wanted you on the show in particular, is you were an early adopter of the technology that was driving the industry, as I'd mentioned earlier. I was having this conversation with someone the other day about Blockbuster Video, and how Blockbuster Video had really resisted this and pushed back against this wave of streaming and where it was going. And they, even though the writing was on the wall, did you feel like you were a pioneer when you started to go, hey, wait a minute, what if actors send me their tapes by video? Like, what a revolutionary idea at the time. Did people think you were a bit crazy? Were actors resistant to it? What was the perception like when you were doing that in the beginning?
No, so it was really crazy. So I'm the wild card here because most of my clients are from out of the market. I do bigger projects, and I live in Tampa, so it's weird. But we are a very good location. So there's that. And then what I realized early on was I can do digital castings and my client can be anywhere. I mean, obviously, if I did all those shows, those were in the 90s and the early 2000s, a lot of those, that was all talent I saw here and shipped them off to Los Angeles. But when companies like yours started here, I mean, I jumped on board so fast. But the problem is I had to get all the agents on board. I had to get all the talent on board. And that's always a struggle because people have a very push and pull thing with technology. I think it's really hard for some people.
I feel like the actors too had to be receptive to it. This idea that you could, or maybe you had to, in some cases, depending on how the casting director was presenting it, you early on, an actor might feel that, I don't know if I'm as good on this videotape as I am when I'm live in the room, or, I'm not there to necessarily read the casting director's body language and feel, how am I doing? How is this audition going? That's a scary thing for actors too. If any of you are in the show watching today and you remember those early days, share with me and with Rose your thoughts on what those early days of your first self-tape was like, or your first, even recently.
That way, though. They still feel that way.
Yeah.
They still want Mama Bear to give them a comment.
Yeah.
And let me tell your viewers that Mama Bear giving you a comment is not necessarily what you need. If I'm in the room with you live, I'm not going to tell you anything. You're gonna give me your first take, and then we'll talk. Then I can give you a feedback. Self-tape's the same thing. Self-tape, you'll send me a tape. I usually say do 2 or 3 takes, send that to me. I'll have a look at that. And if I need something more, I'm going to tell your agent. Your agent's going to tell you, you'll send me another tape. It's the same thing. The only thing you're in charge of is lighting.
I see Linda Pagnotis here. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you again, by the way. I'm so glad you're back and here on the show. She says she gets anxious from even a Zoom call back, and you're right, they still do it. What's your message to those actors? And I don't mean just, hey, don't worry, you don't need it. I mean, get used to it. Like, is it here to stay, Rose? Do you feel like, especially
100%.
with COVID now?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Will we ever go back? Or are we just seeing slowly, eventually, this is the only way we'll do it? I mean, I think eventually you're going to get a live in the room chem read if you go far enough in that process. But what's your take on that?
I mean, people are evacuating New York and Los Angeles to a certain degree. I'm not saying everybody's leaving the big cities. I hope they don't. But I think the studios have told their entire casting teams, we're never coming back in. Go live where you want. You're still on payroll. This has happened. Yeah. So yeah, I think the world is changing because of where we are right now for so many reasons. And hopefully it's for the best. We take the best things out of it across the board.
100%. When you are casting an actor, and whether it's a live virtual audition or you're reviewing self-tapes, really curious about your process. Do you see more actors than you normally would live because of self-tape, or is it about the same at the very beginning?
No, I definitely see more. I like, it depends on the client as to what my process is, because frankly, I'm paid by the day, by the week. So it depends on how much of me they can afford and what I can do for them. But I don't mind like seeing headshots and resumes as a first pull from the agents, running that to my client, and then asking them who they'd like to see on self-tape, and then finding out who they'd like in a callback. I think that's a nice way to get to who you need to see.
Yeah. Can you keep yourself, what's the word I'm looking for? I've asked a lot of casting directors this, and I'm fascinated by it. Can you keep yourself neutral at the start of a day when you've got to look at, let me estimate, you might look at it in a day, 100, 200 self-tapes. Is that normal, abnormal, possible?
Yeah, if I'm working on a project, sure. Yeah. And it's grueling.
And is it any more or less grueling than live, because you don't necessarily have to react and say, hi, nice to meet you, and thanks. And
right.
you can, is it easier, or is it more difficult for you in terms of your professional focus?
It's better.
It's better. That's great. Actors should know that. I think actors should know that. I think that works in their favor.
I think it is in their favor. First of all, I mean, I remember I got a self-tape from a friend of mine who I was trying to hire him for something. And in the corner, it said take 42. And I asked him, I said, seriously? He says, well, take 45 wasn't it? And I went great with 40. So, I mean, but, and he may or may not have been joking, but point is, do what you want. You have all of the tools at your disposal to give yourself as many takes as you want, and to give me what you think is your best. You can't do that in the room. I'm going to give you 2, maybe 3 shots if you're lucky, and you're going to leave. And if you needed to see me live that badly, I just don't see the point.
So I get a question from actors all the time when we have casting directors on. One of the things they want to know is, on the self-tape, should they send you more than one? They might want to do it again, or go, I can do it better. Let me try it this way, but let me play it a little more angry, or right, a little more sad. On the self-tape side, do you like that as well?
I love that. I love it. Yeah. And, and the software kind of gives me some room to either kick it out or keep it, which
right.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. When you are looking at those tapes, I'm so fascinated. Do you know, and you might be looking for a project, you might be looking at 100 today, and you might look at 100 tomorrow. Do you know in the moment when you see them, there's the one, or I think that's the one? Or can you keep yourself really neutral until the end of day two and then really assess what you have? How do you fight that urge to go, halfway through day one when you've already looked at 50, 60 self tapes, from going, wait a minute, there's something special there? And how do you keep yourself not that bias from that creative bias from creeping into day two? How do you do that?
Well, it's no big deal because I'm going to bookmark that person and keep going. And I'm going to send my best choices to my client, if not more than I mean, it's not, I'm not choosing the one. That's not a casting director's job. It's just a gatekeeper. We're just making it simpler for the producers and directors out there. That's really all we do.
It's a fascinating job that you have, and it's my favorite part of this job. I never get tired of learning how you do it. I think you guys suffer from, if anyone suffers from it, like actors do, you as well. I think you underappreciate the work involved in what you do and how difficult that must be. You are, if everything we do in life is about relationships, there's a form of casting in everything we do. And your ability to look or find that thing that is going to connect with that director producer. Do you get close to the directors and producers you work with? How do you integrate into their mind and what they're looking for so that you can really be as good as what you do when it's time to cast? How do you do that?
I mean, that's my favorite part, is to really have that conversation with the director. In fact, it's weird. Sometimes directors can be very shy and introverted, and they don't actually love to have too many conversations. Usually I'm talking with the producer, but I'm not going to sign on unless I talk with the director. That's my rule. It's like, I need 10 minutes with her to make that connection, so I bring forward what she's looking for, or he.
Got it.
Yeah.
Actors, sitting or standing, does it matter in the self-tape to you?
Well, I think standing. I'm standing now. Don't I look better?
Yeah, I like it. I might do a show. I'm going to do a show next week standing. Now you're making me think maybe that I should.
I'm telling you, first of all, we're burning calories.
It's good. I think it's really good.
Right?
Do you also coach actors?
I do. Now, I don't I'm no Stella Adler person, I don't know the process of acting, but I do know the business of acting.
And that's an important thing.
Yeah, I think it is important. I think people are in an art form and they don't realize they're in an art form and a business. And we have to marry the two. We have to be good at acting, and we also have to be great at showing up and not doing things that annoy people.
Do you find that I find the business of acting to be equally as important as the art or the science of acting, the
More
craft
so.
itself? It is so tricky to navigate now. Do you, with so many great schools, and believe me, I know, I worked for 3.5 years at an incredible film school with a great acting program. I was the executive producer at the Vancouver Film School for a long time. And I can appreciate that there's some great schools. You've seen a lot of actors. Are the schools teaching young and emerging actors the business well enough, do you think?
Certainly not.
Why aren't they doing that? Why aren't they teaching that?
Why don't they teach you to, I guess balance a checkbook is a bad example, but do accounting in high school? Why don't they teach you how to, manage your money just along the line in school? I think we've lost that ability to teach our population. Just money's a big thing and people don't understand it. And I think it's very, very important. Like, actors will maybe make a real big check one day, but what happens tomorrow? So, I always coach them through, you got to put some stuff in the bank. So that when the pandemic comes, you're okay, and you could still work on your craft of acting, and you can still be okay. And that's important.
Let's talk about that business for a moment. Before we do that, I'm going to get Emily, our show producer, I'm going to get her to queue up your CWB live page in a second here and ask her to drop that into the chat log. One of the things that we're so excited about is Rose has agreed to join our CWB live coaching community. So she is going to be one of the coaches, consultants, if you will, that's going to be there to help advise actors on the business of acting. If you'd like to book a session with Rose virtually, which is so cool, you can do that right from her page. So when Emily will drop a link in the chat room in just a minute or two, so look for that, and we'll drop it again at the end. Have a look. Rose just signed up, and book a session and talk to her about it. And we'll give you a little taste of that right now too. When you get this opportunity to teach and work with these young actors, or not even necessarily young, of all the things that that is essential that they probably don't understand and they should, is there any one particular area that comes up? Is it management? Is it their headshots? Is it their their decision to the types of parts they're going up for or not? Where on the business side do you think they are most inadequately prepared?
I think it's all of it. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it just depends on the person. Maybe somebody needs their headshot tweaked. Maybe somebody needs their resume tweaked, or their profile on the various platforms. They everybody needs to know what to do when you get on set, what to do when you get in the audition room, how to manage your agent so that you're not annoying them. And do you need a manager? Yeah, things like that. It's not common sense. I don't think it's taught a lot of places. So I do try and bring that to my clients.
Do you love casting still? You have been fortunate to do so many different types of casting projects, from film to TV to reality. Do you still enjoy it the way you did at the start? Is it something that you feel as passionate about as you used to?
I mean, the best part of my job is actually that it's changed so much over the years that essentially I'm still always looking for that needle in a haystack. But how I do it has, I started out with VHS tapes and FedEx and a list.
Yeah.
And that worked for a while. And then there was something with an FTP site, and then there was the DVDs and all the crazy. And then finally the software, which, as we've said, I'm crazy about this software. And, I can't imagine living without it anymore. But the actors and finding them, that it's a puzzle that I love putting together still, absolutely. It's always interesting to me.
When you did Edward Scissorhands, I would imagine part of that casting project, it's one of my favorite movies. If you've seen it, let me know if you've seen it and what you guys think. You have the challenge of casting a neighborhood of people in anywhere America, a happy-go-lucky, nice neighborhood of people where the hedges and the homes, right, in this Tim Burton magical world of the macabre on the left, and you've got these regular everyday people on the right. Is it hard to cast neighbor number one and neighbor number two as it is to cast a supporting actor or a lead? Like, do you allow yourself to really work as hard in finding something, or is it easy and you just, if they fit the bill, they're in? How does that work?
I mean, for that project, Tim was fully involved with each person that was going to be a neighbor. He was right there in the casting room picking them himself. Yeah, live.
For neighbor number one and car salesman number two, like,
yeah, he was into it. He really wanted a certain look, and then of course he you put him through hair and makeup, and they and then they had to sign up for not a lot of it's still extra work, right?
Yeah.
But they had to sign up for like 2 months of maybe you work this day, maybe you don't, but you had to be available. It was quite a commitment, and I still know some of those people, and I'm grateful to them that they stuck it out, because it was a hot summer here. I mean, it's hella crazy.
Do they, for actors that you have worked with or over the years, do you encourage them to look at extra work as another opportunity to keep busy? Or do you say to actors, if you want to be a serious professional actor, you've got to, hang in there in the trenches and pay your dues and go for it? I see a lot of actors, and I'd love to know what you guys think in the chat log, are really torn about, should I be trying to get extra work on the side while I'm not booking or whatever? What's your take on that?
I mean, I think there are extras and there are actors, and there are extras that move into actors. But I do think it's an entry-level position.
Yeah.
And sure, if you need money, I'm not telling you to not do that. some of the SAG extra work is kind of a decent paycheck sometimes. So I understand if you
Is
do
it
it. I'm not
frowned upon if you see an actor that's got, young or been around and they've got a lot of extra work as well? Should they be putting it on their resume and telling you as well, or do you only want to see the more focused, professional acting? And I mean that with all respect to extra actors out there.
No,
I'm curious.
100%. But if you're putting, doctor number one on your resume, I understand that you could be on set. I do not understand that you can deliver lines and feelings and reactions. So yeah, I don't want to see too much of that if I'm hiring you for a bigger part. So I think you have to have a few different resumes if you're going to go in that direction.
One of the great things too, I should mention, if you have the casting workbook actor app, please download. I'll get Emily to drop a link in there too for Android or iOS. I'm biased, but I'm telling you, it's the best app out there. It's amazing for the self-tape. And you have the option, if you're a casting workbook member, having multiple resumes. So to Rose's point, what's really great is if you have done a bunch of extra work and you want to have that over here, or you want to just send your part, the work you booked where you've got a part or a speaking role, stuff like that, you can do that as well. Rose, you're on social media, and I really, really like that about you. Some casting directors I talk to won't even go near it. Some are really engaged. I really find that there's no in the middle on it.
Right.
How important do you think social media is to the actors that you're considering? Will you look at it before or after you've decided to cast them?
Their social media,
Yeah.
yeah, if they're, yeah, we do consider it pretty, on some projects very heavily, honestly.
Are you looking for it to affirm something you like, or are you looking for it as any red flags before you make a decision?
I'm looking for red flags. Also, I work with unscripted producers who will scour TikTok for for talent to build a show around. I'm not kidding. Look at my YouTube channel. We just did an interview with Stuart Krasnow, and he discussed that whole situation. Fascinating. How, I mean, and I know, he'll stay up all night watching TikTok and say, all right, now these people are interesting.
Oh, Emily, if you can find that link, throw that in there too. I'd love to share that because I did
Yeah.
watch that and that was so great. Let's talk reality for a second too. My wife and I, we watch a lot of good TV and we watch a lot of reality TV. We
Isn't it
really,
awkward?
it's become so part of the mainstream, actually. And we had living with us for a couple of years ago, a young actress who was making her way, and she had started out on a reality show, and she had migrated into acting. What's your take on that? Can actors go both ways, Rose? Should they? Talk to me about the state of the reality world actor today. What is going on there?
I mean, I think do it. I think you can get eyes on your face. I think to now I don't think there's the stigma that it used to be, well, I'm a real actor. I can't be. It's like it's your way onto the screen.
Sure.
Absolutely utilize that. If somebody's going to cast you in a show, tell me why you're not doing it. I
I
don't,
wa- we watched The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and Kate and I love it. We used to live just down the road from the house when we lived in LA, coincidentally. And I would go to the gym. I'm name dropping, but I don't know him. But Chris Harrison used to work out at the same gym as me all the time, and we were right there. And we were so into the show, and I always wanted to go up to him and say, "Oh my God, can't believe what happened last night," or whatever. But I didn't. I never bugged him. You shouldn't do that at the gym. But I remember that I've only seen like one actor cross over. They don't seem to be crossing over, and I wonder if the message, like, I don't want to create this impression to the actors who watch it. Hey, if you do reality, it's a good stepping stone into real acting. Do you agree or disagree with that?
all I'm saying is there are more eyes on your face, and you are on a show. And honestly, you could do YouTube content, you could do Instagram content, you could do stuff. Now you have the greatest opportunity to promote yourself in all the history of acting. Why aren't you using it?
You just gave me goosebumps. Um, you really did. I'm not making that up. I love how refreshing you are. You're right. Like, you know what, actors? It's a fucking good time to be an actor. Pardon my language.
Right. It
There
really,
is a lot of ways you can be out there to giving your money. All of you guys could do a better job of hosting this show than I could. Like, and you could go and do this so easily. You're absolutely right, Rose. And I think
doing
it's,
a great job.
thanks. I'm just the backup, but I do enjoy it, and I do think you are ahead of your colleagues in so many ways because you're you're not afraid to reimagine what the actor is and what the actor can do. And I think for a lot of actors, that's hopeful, and that's a really great message that they're not here.
I mean, I reimagine what I do. You know, over all the years, I've kept redoing what I'm doing. Look what I'm doing now in the middle of a pandemic. I started a YouTube show. I'm doing these kind of interviews. I was telling you earlier, I used to have horrible stage fright, but here I am. So it's just, who knows? You have to move on in life and accept change and you know, pivot, free flow it. I mean, isn't this that moment, for Christ's sake?
Yeah, well said, Rose. Isn't she great, guys? Let me know what you think. I feel that it's an important message. I want to actually, you've got a couple others coming in here. I want to get to some from the audience before I get ahead of it. There's so much I want to talk to you about
I
today.
want to talk about bringing the software here to Florida too. So make sure we put that in our conversation.
Yeah, I absolutely will. Here's a question from back to the extra question from Dennis Oliver. Dennis writes, I was told by a wrangler on set that there's no such thing as an extra. Even background performers are essential. And I like the thought that Dennis had there, because I think there's a lot of background actors who are like, I'm really going to bring this to life. You might not really see me throwing Frisbee in the park, but there's a story behind that guy or that girl and the dog they're playing with. Do you agree, or is Dennis just taking it way too seriously?
No, it definitely. I mean, the When Harry Met Sally story is a classic example of that. But you know, I'll have what she's having, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was just a throw-in line.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I believe so. Yes.
That's great. That's so terrific.
Yeah, but so it's just, you know, I think the film industry is this huge wheel, and every person is a part of that a cog on the wheel. So the background extras are absolutely part of it. The PAs are part of it. The interns, everybody. And now even more so because sets are smaller with COVID.
You're right. You're right. Here's a great one. You know what? I've never had this one before. Patricia Wright Dominga wrote this one. Patricia, so nice to meet you. And what a great question. She wants to know, what's your opinion, Rose, about actors doing student films?
Oh, I love it. Are you kidding me? That's the best thing. That is you've never had this question before?
No. And it's so, I'm so glad she asked. Yeah.
Excellent way to start. Yeah. Even not start. I mean, you know, it's just something you should drop into, because students are great. I mean, I love.
We famously at Vancouver Film School had Kevin Smith as one of our grads. Right. And of course, he cast and worked with so many of his peers from the school and started his early projects with them. And Patricia, I think, to echo what Rose is saying, for my 2 cents, absolutely, and do it. And hopefully you're proud of it. And if it's not as good because they're a student, no problem. Just remember, that's the next Neil Blomkamp, or you know, or somebody that's going to explode at some point. And I think it's a really smart way for you. You also are giving back, and you're elevating the quality of their project with your experience. And I think that makes better student projects. And I only see incredible things coming out of students now. What a great message and a reminder to do that. I think that's cool. Should an actor put that on their resume if they did it?
100%, 100%. That's an actual part. They have lines. It's like, then I know they can act. I can ask them for a clip of that. There's lots to that absolutely. And honestly, I think this industry gets a little too bogged down in the how much are you paying me. I think you really have to look at the project and say, if you're doing somebody a favor, or if it's lower paying, student films, whatever, you've got to look at the project and think, let's try it out. We're all artists here. We have to work on our art, and what better way?
I totally agree, Rose. I love you. I think that's so good. I think a lot of actors are loving you right now. If you didn't catch that too, put it on your resume if you're doing stuff. Reach out to the local film school wherever you are. Put yourself, talk to the acting faculty. Let them know you'd love to help out if they're looking for actors. I think that's such a great message. And I see just really good stuff coming from them. Here's one. This one's from Mark G. And Mark wants to know, will casting directors look at all the content on social media, Rose? I'm interested in creating content from dramatic, maybe even some silly fun stuff, but I don't want to be boxed into just TikTok quality videos. Mark wants to know, should I just do anything I want that's creative, or should I create a niche kind of a thing in his content? What's your take on that?
I think that has a lot of layers to it. Um, I think experiment and have some fun. That's what social is for. Of course, you don't want to go too crazy in either direction, you know, but like we don't want to see too much, although I shouldn't talk because I do lots of political, but I'm not an actor. But
You could have been, Rose. You could have been.
But so you don't want to just be too extreme. You don't want to do a bunch of nude stuff or real sexy stuff. I mean, honestly, and I love sexy things, but if I see that all over your Instagram, it's very hard for me to sell you to a client.
Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about that for a minute, because I'm seeing that more and more. Actors, in particular, female actors, often younger, but not necessarily. Is it a double standard? Is an expectation? Why on Instagram? I'm on Instagram and I get to meet so many actors and I get messages all the time. Why is there a push to do that kind of Maxim magazine type stuff? Where does that come from? Would you think it's hurting them, right? It's hurting their chances for you to see credibly?
Get rid of it. I mean, literally yesterday, I had a client who was talking about, a particular actor and her profile, and can we get her to take those sexy shots off? This client is not that. They're more buttoned up. She is beautiful. She is right for this, but I can't show the client that profile with lingerie shots. So it's difficult, right?
Yeah, and I don't know
why are we doing that. I understand a swimsuit shot. I do. But if the bulk of it is, tits and ass, if you will, it doesn't ring to me that you're a professional.
Talk to me about perfect teeth. Does an actor need perfect teeth?
Good teeth, I think, are kind of important. I don't know that perfect is needed.
Should they be as an investment in your teeth? It can go either way. So, you could be a guy like Steve Buscemi, who has an incredible career and a face and a style, and he's never made any attempt to correct, his wonky teeth, and I don't think anybody cares. But often we see on TV great teeth, very white teeth. Should actors be budgeting that even in hard times? Is it important?
I mean, go to your dentist. I think that's a definite. I like nice teeth. I don't think they have to be perfect. They should be clean. Do the best you can. I don't know that you have to budget a whole set of veneers unless you think you need it. I mean, I think that's a personal discussion, and how bad is it and what's your character. I mean, Buscemi is a whole category, right?
But confidence in your ability as an actor, it shouldn't worry what your teeth are, assuming that they're clean and you're healthy. I just wondered where so many actors are trying to figure out on any given year, their body is their craft, right? It's part of the work, and they are trying to decide how to budget, especially in tough times. Yeah, what am I going to put into my hair this year? What am I going to, I'm going to go to the gym and try to get into better shape, or, should I, if I'm getting older, should I be doing things? A lot of guys like me, they got the salt and pepper coming in now. We haven't gone full gray, and there's no point in hiding it. Should men be hiding the gray? Do you see the gray the way an actor sees it?
No. Let's really drill down to the fact that body positivity. I mean, look at what's happening now. Actors, commercial actors, print, any of that stuff, it's all typical looking people, average looking people. It's not all the pretty people. We've gone away from that look.
It's great.
It could be any size,
Yeah.
Whatever size you are. The one thing I want to say is in your profile, be honest, because I'm going to put a dress on you or a swimsuit. And that, the stylist needs to know what your real size is. So let's not monkey business around here. but but I'm happy to hire you at a size 12. It's not a problem. And so are all of my clients. Each thing is its own deal, of course.
That is so great, Rose. That's reason number 5. It's a great time to be an actor, because I think you're absolutely right. The story, our perception, I think it's getting. Do you guys agree? Tell me in the chat. Like, you're the actors. Do you still feel that pressure to look a certain way, maybe compared to how you did 5 years ago or 10 years ago? Is it getting better? Rose thinks it's getting better. I think it's getting better. Do you agree? I would love to know what you guys think about that.
And we love gray hair. Because like my problem is sometimes I'm looking for an older actor, and so many people color their hair. So if you're 60 or even 70 and you still have black hair, it's hard for us to read you as this grandmother type or grandfather type. So it's important to keep the gray and to think about getting gray wigs so you have different looks like that if you're in that age category.
Yeah. I like Brian Knox McGugan just weighed in here. We should embrace our authentic selves. It's so true, Brian. I love that. And we talk about that a lot on the show. And yet, of course, it still is the business of being on TV and you're being looked at. And I get it. I don't think you can just flick a switch and tomorrow you don't feel that pressure. But I think, Rose, what you're saying is so true. Talk to me back again to the audition. Here's another one. You sometimes will see the same actors that you've seen before. That's not unusual. When you get to know an actor and they don't give you a great audition, but they're capable. Have you ever broken through and said you can do better than that, or push them through, or how involved do you get when an actor hasn't nailed it the way they can? Do you get involved?
Oh yeah, absolutely, all the time. I could see it. I could see that they're close. I give them direction, have them retake. If they're in the room, have them retake. If they're on a self-tape, have them redo it and send it back in. Sure, absolutely. And the funny thing is, once again, I don't do the final hire, right? So that's my client, that's the producer, that's the director. They're making those choices. So you could be in my room for many, many times and never get hired. I could tell you a number of actors that think I hate them because I never hired them. But guess what? I'm not making the choice. I'm making the choice for them to come in my room. So I clearly don't hate them. I like them. I think they're great actors. And for whatever reason, they haven't made that fit yet, but they will.
Do you lead the witness, so to speak, when you are working with the directors or the producers and you're about to present them some choices? Do you have a favorite going in, and do you say, by the way, in particular, look at Joe or look at Sally, or how do you do that? How does that work?
It kind of depends on the client, of course, but if I'm working on a movie or a show, 100%, we're talking it all the way through. Sometimes, like if I'm doing commercial gigs, that's a whole room of a bunch of people that are making decisions that are way outside of what, I give them what they need, and then they fit it into whatever widget that, like I said, that's a room of 15 people that I'm not usually too involved in, unless they come back at me with a question and I'll give them, the
answer. Jacqueline Lamb writes, hi, thank you for having me. Rose, how important is a website for an actor? We've seen resumes, we've seen social media. Should Jacqueline Lamb have JacquelineLamb.com? Do you go there? Is it as important? What do you think of those?
So it's another click. So you got to imagine yourself in my day. So my day consists of working in a program. And if I start to work in 2, 3, 4 programs, I make myself nuts. So what I want is for you guys to put everything into your profile. I want all the information there, and I want it to be truthful. If you have a website and, you put that link in your profile, that's fine. But the truth is, probably most of the things that are needed can be right there in your profile.
And you're talking about the casting workbook one, right?
Yeah. Obviously there's other software.
Yeah. But
But
yeah, if
yeah,
you're
you guys have profiles and you have skills, you have resumes, you have pictures, you have video. What are they going to put on that website that is different than that? You tell me.
exactly, absolutely, you're right. I think that,
And you're
Jacqueline,
already
I hope
paying
that's, yeah.
for, to be in the why are you managing a website on top of that? It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, great answer. And Jacqueline, it's a good question, Jacqueline, because I've seen it a lot. I get a lot of actors that will send me, I'll go, hey, take a look at my site before I kind of put it out there. What do you think? And I think the most important thing is what Rose just said, which is it's another click away from what you want them to do. If you're on, hopefully you're all on Casting Workbook and you're paying monthly or annually, it's not expensive. And please, if you tell me at the end of the year if it was not worth that and more, we do a hell of a job to create a profile where you can have all that stuff there. So then they can go, yes, I do want to see more of that actor. And they're already in that place. Instead of pushing them away from that, to Rose's point, I don't know if the website is necessary, not like social media. But let me know what you guys think. I haven't heard it differently from other casting directors. Here's an interesting
It's
one
good
from
to have
Paul.
a reel. Let me just
Yeah,
say that. It is good to have examples of your work and to keep that as current as possible and keep as much. That's really hard to get, but it's really important to keep on top of that.
and Casting Workbook versus some of the other sites that are out there. Lori, I see that. Honestly, we believe competition is great. I think if you're an actor, the most important thing is you probably want to be on all of them. There's not very many. Between the three that are the most popular, you can deduct them from your taxes every year. They are an expense as a working actor, and you should absolutely be there. We're certainly not expensive. Most of them you can make it work. I think you want to be on all of them. If I was being truly honest, and I like to give you guys a straight, unbiased answer, so it doesn't feel like we're just pushing Casting Workbook. Ours is the
I agree.
best. However, I
No,
think
but the point is that different casting directors work in different
that's right.
softwares, and for
Yeah.
different reasons, we do different things. So it is good to have across the board, and in years past, you spent a lot of money printing your headshots, printing your resumes, mailing them. I mean, this is thousands a year for actors. Being on all of the websites, all of the platforms is not going to cost you that.
No,
So,
not at all.
yeah.
And Lori, to your point there, it looks like she was told that maybe we were the same as the other company. No, Casting Workbook is absolutely independent. None of us are the same,
Right.
not Actors Access or any of those other ones. We are absolutely different. So please make sure that is out there and people understand that.
Right.
And we want to make sure that you guys are on there, because that's where the casting directors are on. Hello? Someone was knocking on my door there. Forgive me. I think
I
it's
can't.
I think it's the Amazon guy.
It probably is. He
The,
comes every day to somebody.
I
All the
wanted to leave some time too. We still don't worry. We still got a few minutes left, but we were going to talk a bit about the software and and so on. Talk to me about that. What you wanted to leave some time. Where do we begin on that one?
Well, I just want to make sure, I am committed to bringing your software to Florida, and I feel like it's a good market for you guys. So we're going to promote it. I want all the Florida actors who happen to be watching this to hop on. We'll put a link in the chat so they can get a free profile for starters.
Yep.
And you put in your agents, and we'll go from there. But I'm pretty excited to start to see Florida talent in there. I mean, I do hire talent anywhere, but certainly a lot of my jobs end up being right here in Florida. So I mean, it's no skin off your teeth right now. I know you guys are giving the Florida people a deal at least through the end of the year, and that'll be good. And we're going to start up with the agents, and
We're going
on.
huge in Florida. So please spread the word. If you have friends that are actors there, if you're there, help us out, please, guys. It would mean so much to me. We're doing some big stuff in Florida. We're doing some, at the end, I'll mention a couple things, but we're going to be making a couple big announcements in the weeks ahead before the end of the year. Some other cool things for actors all over North America, for Canada. There's a bunch of great things, but don't worry. I think in particular, Florida, we're doing some really fun stuff with you guys. Is there a difference to you, Rose, in the actors in Florida than LA or New York? If I was to put three in a room and go, guess which is which, all things being equal, can you tell?
I feel like that's so racist. Uh,
No. I mean it like, is
tell
there
the
an
Florida guy.
attitude? Is there a
You know,
style? Like Florida, I
I
would
don't,
think they're like more laid back in Florida. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, they don't work as much, you know, as Los Angeles actors, but that may change. Um, eh, no, I think an actor is an actor, and I think whatever I'm looking for, I know it when I see it, and that's the truth. It doesn't matter where you come from.
What's would you ever leave Florida? You love it down there. What is it? Is it could anybody talk you out of it and get you over to LA or to New York?
I was looking at Canada real estate earlier today.
Yeah, don't worry. The election's gonna go the way I think everybody's hoping. Don't worry, I'm confident. You won't need to think about it just yet. But
Some
we've
pretty
got I've
beautiful
got a
estates in
suite in our
Toronto.
home that's always Kate and I will keep a room for you just in case, you and your
Good,
husband.
thank you.
Do you feel like actors I mean, we've just spent a lot of time talking about that they should be really optimistic, that it's a good time to be an actor. Would you dare make a prediction on when we're going to really be back in full swing? Will the industry ever be the same? Are we always going to be on COVID safety on set, do you think?
I mean, I am not Anthony Fauci, but but I mean, my prediction, I've certainly said I'm not doing any in-person castings at the beginning of the pandemic. I said through the end of the year. So now I think it's at least another, who knows? I mean, a year, 2 years. I suppose things will get back to where they were, but I think in general, things will change. I think possibly, and I hope so, that the handshake will go out of style. I've always been against the handshake. I look at people, I'm like, I'm not a handshaker.
Do you like this? Do you like
No,
this?
I don't even bother.
Yeah, it's
But,
weird, right?
well, like
So
casting
is
directors,
kissing. Kissing is weird too.
or
Some people do the bro hug or I don't
the,
know. It's kind of
the
weird.
whole kissing, like, and the lip kiss. I mean, people are strange, and I don't like it.
We can't have a girlfriend that she's so lovely and she's a lip kisser. Like she's one of those.
No, what is that? Yeah,
Oh,
right on the lips. Like,
yeah. I think that's gonna go away, which is
that's
a
so
shame.
weird. Yeah.
A
So I
shame.
think I think
Yeah,
that intrusive body thing. So as casting directors, we're all kind of germaphobes, right? So when
yeah,
we're in the room and we're seeing 100 people a day and
yeah.
they start coming up into our space, our antenna goes up and we get crazy. And so this is fine with me. Uh, keep
Yeah.
them away. But yeah, no, I haven't, and I can't tell you the looks I've had from people pre-COVID when I'd say, I'm just not a handshaker. And they'd look at me like I was the devil. And now what are they saying?
Absolutely. A couple other questions I want to get to before we move on. Jessica Jean Winter writes, Rose, how often do you cast or look at Canadian actors versus American actors?
I mean, it's all about budget, right? So it's where I'm shooting. It's, I haven't, I have a person I work with sometimes in Canada. So there's that. But yeah, not as much as I'd like to, but I'm always happy to. How's that?
I like that answer. Here's one from Aaron Agostino. It's a casting workbook live question. I'll get Emily to put that link in there again to your specific page. But by the way, I would love you guys to go look around and tell me what you think. It's getting really exciting. There's some incredible coaches and consultants in there, from publicists to lawyers, to help you with immigration if you want to work in LA or Florida or New York or wherever. There's some incredible people there, and you can book a consult with them before you commit to a larger one. Really, really inexpensive and really great people. Please look around. Aaron Agostino says,
Some of them, they're great. You
yeah,
have
oh yeah.
people, and we all kind of know each other, but yeah, I think you guys are doing a fantastic job actually with the education.
Thank you.
And yeah, and
We're the
helping.
cameo of casting directors.
It's sweet. It's really, no, but it's nice. It's
Thank you, thank you. I know Susan will appreciate that too. That's a lot of work on our team, and we don't take money from it. It's basically a service that we do directly to the actor to connect you to the coach, to the consultant. It's all about the actor for us. So I appreciate you saying that.
yeah.
Aaron Agostino says, Rose, if I book a session with you on Casting Workbook Live, what would that entail? Is there something I should prepare beforehand? Well, that's a great question. What would you say to people that are thinking about booking a consult or a full session with you?
I mean, I'll want to see your casting workbook profile. I want to see your resume. I want to see whatever shots you have. So whatever collateral materials you have that you have worked on for your business, that's what I want to start with. And then we can go from there. But everything is personalized. I just, look at what you have and we talk about it and see how to fix it. Because it's just the two of us.
Celeste writes, do you still need hard copy headshots? She just did a small run of new ones. Is it still the norm to hand a headshot when they come in or whatever? Is that an outdated trend?
I mean, first of all, COVID, we're not seeing anybody. So
right.
Totally outdated at the moment. Before COVID, I would smirk at people when they bring in a headshot because I feel like, my office has gone green. I have very few clients that ask me for headshots.
Hey, look at this. I got to show you something on that note. Just blew my mind.
I used to paper my walls with the headshots.
My wife just bought this. Look at this. You guys are going to laugh at me. We needed paper for the printer.
Oh, right.
It's sugarcane.
Oh.
Have you heard of this? Have you heard of this?
Nice. No.
My wife said it was like maybe $1.50 more than normal paper. It's 100% sugarcane, completely sustainable. And when you feel it, it's like normal paper. It's crazy.
We all had to be so responsible. I mean, if 2020 hasn't taught us anything, it needs to teach us the fact that we are each individually responsible for the whole. And that's my takeaway.
Absolutely. Couple other quick questions before we wrap. Dave Rose writes, this is great, Rose. Thank you. Do you like to see behind the scenes and other pictures on their casting workbook profile in addition to headshots? I like this question. Like, should it just be me going, or do you like to see me talking to someone or in action, maybe a red carpet, maybe an event, maybe with some friends, fans, whatever? What do you think of that?
Put that in your IMDb profile, in your casting workbook profile. I want to see your professional headshots, body shots, work, reels, etc. I don't want to see
don't mess around. Dave. There's a very clear answer from Rose Rosen. I love it. We're running low on time. Rose, will you come up? Will you do this again another time? Like I could do this for another hour with you. I never get to finish. There's so many things that I would love to talk to you about. I think you're so great at what you do, and you clearly are really a progressive thinker and someone I think that actors are really excited. I hope that a lot of them will get to be in the room or virtually in the room with you in the year ahead. I'm going to have Emily put your social media links in the chat log here if she hasn't yet. Please follow Rose on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And how should people reach out to you if they want to? This is like that. Do you like don't or do it? What do you like?
I mean, let me tell you my stand on that.
Should I give them your personal mobile?
Right.
I won't.
Yeah, exactly. No, so point is, if casting directors spent all the time to respond to all the emails and Facebook inboxes and Instagram and all this stuff that is frankly inappropriate, if I spent all the time answering that, then I wouldn't have the time to get you jobs. And that's my job, is to get you guys jobs. And it's to look at you in a professional way from your agent. So stay within the system. Don't reach out to me, please. You can reach out and we can have a short 15-minute chat. And, it's right there in the program. It's nothing. Or it's small, but that's appropriate. And I'm offering myself for that. I don't mean to be witchy or anything.
No, that's great.
But everybody's time has to be, it's just, I can't. If you want me to go find you jobs and talk to my clients so you'll get jobs, then please don't reach out to me on social. But you could hashtag, like at the beginning of the pandemic, I did a quarantine hashtag. I mean, we could do a Rose casting workbook hashtag if you.
Yeah, we're gonna have Rose back again, guys. Don't worry, in the new year, I promise. She's too much fun, and there's too much learning here. And I really feel, Rose, that you're one of the more progressive casting directors out there. And there's a lot of stuff you said today. I hope people will go back, or please share this episode with other actors and have them watch this. I feel that it's a great time to be an actor, and today of all days, we need that message. And I think it's really great, Rose. And I know you are sincere about it. Follow me, guys, on Instagram. I'm Casting Workbook President. Emily will drop that in there. I need to have more followers than my 12-year-old by the end of the year, or I will lose a bet to my son Fox.
I know, that's crazy. I was following you on Instagram. You apparently have not been working on this. You have to like get on that.
I try, but I'm mostly responsive, and everyone knows. Let me know what you think of today's show, ideas for other shows. How did I do it? We care a lot about it. Emily works so hard to make this a great show, and we want to get it just right for you. So let me know how we did. I always reply on video, and I just want to hear from you guys. We care about what's going on with the actors out there so much, and we're connected to you that way. So Rose,
I want to hear too. Honestly, I want to know. If
yes, share with
bad
Rose.
things. I'm interested in what the actors want to know. I really am.
You've been invited, guys, so please do that. And I'll give you a minute here as we wrap to drop any final comments to Rose. I'm going to share the entire chat log with her at the end so she can see the whole thing.
I will
Rose,
absolutely read it. I promise. 100%. I will read that.
Florida, we love you. And Rose, we love you so much. Thanks for doing the show. We've got some great stuff coming up next week, guys. A couple other ones scheduled this year before we shut down around mid-December. And it is going to be our best 6 weeks ever. You guys are going to love it. Lots to talk about. Rose, we'll see you next time. And to all of you, I hope I talked to you on social. Have a great week. So nice to be back. And we'll see you real soon.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Rose. You were outstanding and terrific, and I'm so grateful. Susan will probably reach out, and we'll catch up later.
Good. No, it sounds perfect. So it was good. It was fine.
You were amazing.
All right, send me the chat. I will read it. I swear to God.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
All right, take care. Thanks so much. Bye.